you can forward them over to this. It usually comes up in about a week. So if you need this, it will be out in about a week. So first, we're going to be talking about Facebook ads today. And doing a Facebook ad is a really useful thing in Command. There's lots of ways to utilize them. We are going to be working on the most successful ad that we see agents run inside of Keller Williams, which is just a basic just listed or for sale ad. There's a few different components to writing an ad outside of just the ad itself. And so we really want to make sure we have our follow-up set first, which is a smart plan that we're going to use. And we need a place for them to go when someone clicks on that ad. We need a place for them to go. So we need a landing page set up that we know where they're going to go once they click on the ad. We get their information from Facebook, and then they move on to a web page. We need to send them somewhere. And then on top of all that, there's different ways to configure these ads for different uses. And sometimes you might do one or the other, or you may do both in some cases. And so we'll talk about some of those configurations that we can change inside the Facebook ad, when to kind of do either of those. And we'll finish up with just a generalized ad. And I'll give you guys some tips and tricks that we've found across Keller Williams of regular success. And if you send me an email at steven.delisio@kw.com, I will be happy to share with you a whole folder of examples that have photos, texts, and a list of targets for Command ads. And these targets really work. I generally run ads at about $1 to $1.50 a lead when I use these different best practices. So I hope that you guys can utilize them, but just send me an email so I can add you to the list to share that folder with you, so you can take a look if you are interested in running different kinds of ads. All right, so let's jump in. I'm going to log in to my Facebook, to my Command. And like I said, the first thing that we really want to set up is our follow-up. We need to be ready to get these leads. Speed to lead is one of the most important aspects of converting that lead into somebody, not just a lead, but into a contact, meaning that they actually respond. And one of the great things about Command now is that when a lead comes in through Facebook, it will automatically put them onto smart plans that you set up. And so having a plan ready to go before your ad runs is better for your follow-up. And so you don't need to reinvent the wheel here. There are dozens of plans shared in the library that you can download for free that are intended to convert Facebook leads. There are a bunch of different ones to explore in here, and we're not going to spend too much time creating the plan because there are so many. And so if you come in here and just type in the word Facebook into the search bar up here, and you're going to find dozens of plans. You can see results, 400 different plans. Utilize how many agents are using them. I use one. I actually use this one right here, the text Facebook lead follow-up plan, along with the email Facebook lead follow-up plan. I actually separate them because sometimes you get old emails or bad phone numbers, and I like to be able to just run a plan for both and then take them off if one of those pieces of information is incorrect. So you can download these. You do have to edit them a little bit before you are ready to send them out, but I'll just show you them in my planning here. Let's find that text plan somewhere in here. Let's just search mine. Well, once you download it, it will show up in your My Smart Plans menu here. And you can go in and edit it by clicking on the pencil over to the right side. That pencil is always going to be your universal sign to edit something in Command. So when you download it, it's taking a little bit of time. Let's see if we can speed this up. Oh, there they were. All right, I'll just jump into a plan. So if we click on the pencil, you can come in. It's usually just things like your name that you have to update, maybe a phone number, something like that. Remember, if you're sending text to a lead automatically through the system, it's going to be coming from your Twilio number, which is not your personal phone number. So indicating something around a business line isn't as important with a lead that doesn't know your personal number, but it isn't. I usually put my personal phone number in there just saying, here's my personal information if you need it. Oh, this one didn't have any steps in there. But having a plan ready is, like I said, one of the most important things you can do for your lead generation, if you're just trying to get to those leads when you get to them, there's a good chance they are not going to convert, or at least for a while. So having them on an email plan or a text plan is a great idea, because you're from Facebook, you collect both a phone number and an email. Let's try this one more time. All right. So getting yourself a smart plan ready, editing it, and having it ready to go, and knowing the name of it is important because we're going to utilize it when we build the ad. As I mentioned before, we can automatically drop people onto these smart plans, and we just need to have the smart plan downloaded and in our library before we do that. So I'm just going to download this one for an example, and we'll pop this one in there too. I remember now why it's not showing up. Here we go. Now we can take a look, and command's moving much smoother now. Okay, so coming in here, I usually change out my, not just Keller Williams Realty, but put in downtown or my team name, Delicio's Property Services. But the rest of it's pretty ready to go on this one. And you can see it's a fairly aggressive plan. It's sending something out just about every day after that lead comes in, up until the end where it starts separating it by 2 days and 11 days. And the intent of these plans are to be taken off as soon as they answer and put onto another plan or into some other kind of follow-up system. But as soon as they contact you back from one of these emails or text messages, you want to take them off these plans. Let's see. All right. Are there any questions about the smart plans or the follow-up? It's pretty general right now, but what questions do you all have? Okay, easy enough. So we're going to leave this one as my text, and we'll come back to this one a little later. So I'm going to hit save, and you're going to see these two plans show up when we build the ad. Now, the second thing that I talked about after our follow-up is we want some place for them to go. Once they click on the ad, they're usually clicking on it for a reason. And the main reason on a for sale kind of ad is because they just want to see the price of it or more pictures. That is honestly what they're mostly doing on Facebook. And so when you're aware of that, you need to just know, okay, well, what do they want to see? And there's a couple of different ways that we can go about building a page that they can go to. There's ways in Command where we can build a landing page, or we can use our agent website if the listing is active. So that's an important caveat there. The listing is not active if we're doing something that requires us to use a non-active listing. We are going to have to utilize a landing page. But we're going to talk about a listing just because, honestly, most for sale ads right now, you're going to do while the listing's active. And so we're going to do a active listing here. Let me see if I can find it. And the first step to getting the page we want them to go to is going to our own website. So you can see where I'm right here at stevendelicio.kw.com. I want to keep them here because I want all my branding to come on to the pages. And then if they click anything or sign in or request a showing, it goes straight to me and not to some KW website or to some other website like Zillow or something like that. Stays all in my environment going back to my command. And so let's find this listing. I have one ready to go, 33883 County 33 Kyle. Let's see if we can find that. Let's see, did it get us to the right place? Oh, there it is. So you can see when I click on the listing, I'm sent over to a new tab. This page here is specific to my website and this listing right here. And this is actually what I'm going to share with people so that they can go onto the site, see the pictures, see the price. But again, it keeps everything with my name on it. So if they click ask an agent or schedule a video tour, that all comes into my command as a notification up here in the notifications bell. And so all we have to do is just copy this link for the future. So I'm just going to copy that so that I have it. And I'm always using a notepad when I'm creating an ad. So whatever you use to take notes on your computer, you could use a Word document here, but I'm just going to put all the stuff that I need in here because we're going to have to write some copy as well. We're going to have to write something about, or put the text together for the ad. And we'll do that in here as well because it makes it a little easier to just copy and paste it than it is to try and do it in the editor. Until you get good at it, then I'm sure you guys will be super fast and be just fine. But we'll put that there for now. And now we're going to go back into command. And just as an example, if I wanted to actually build out a landing page, it's really simple to do that as well for a listing, whether it is a active listing or a listing from the past that's expired or something like that. If we want to create a landing page, there's actually a really cool widget that helps us do that. So if this one we click on as a landing page and hit create, we're going to get this example. So I'm going to put this as Kiowa home simple. I'm going to drag in my branded header so I get a little branding on there, phone number, email, and then I'm going to use this listing widget over here. But before I put that in, I actually like putting the legal footer in first because it's hard to drag them down to the bottom. And then I put the lead form. You'll notice that green line shows up, and that tells you where the widget is going to land. So this is in between my banner and my footer, so it'll come right in the middle of those two. Oops, I didn't want to do a lead form. Delete that. I wanted to do a listing. There we go. And it comes in.
Do you have a...
What was that, Francisco?
Sorry about that. Sorry for interrupting. Do you have a specific preference over creating a landing page opposed to just getting the URL from your page? Do you find that one is more visually pleasing, or do you have just a personal preference out of it?
It depends on the situation mostly, and that's a great question. So sometimes I like to use the live page. And like an instance of a time when I would use this live page for the listing would be if I have it listed myself, or if somebody has it listed, I'm just running the ad for when it's listed, and this page will only be active when the home is listed. So if it does go under contract, it will reflect that or it won't show up on here. And so for ads that I'm only running for maybe a weekend, I like to use just this page. If I'm going to be running it for a little longer, like this ad right here, this home's been listed for a while, I might use the landing page. If I want to add in more stuff, Francisco, like a lead form, another lead form for just a second opportunity for them to put in information. If I want to put in like neighborhood stats that are more specific and just build the page out more, the landing page will be the way to go for that one. So sometimes it just depends really for me on the ad. Usually I use my live page, to be honest. When I'm running ads, mostly I'm using the live pages, but the landing pages can really add some additional oomph to the page.
Gotcha. Okay, sounds good. That definitely makes sense. Thank you.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, here, let's search this one by MLS number. So we can search it by address. We can search it by our MLS number. Just know it is searching the entire nation. And so you might get a couple of MLS numbers from somewhere else. Like you see there's same MLS number in Arizona, but the second one we want is right here. We hit select. And right now we're just configuring that listing, adding it in. There we go. And we're configuring this widget. We can change what image shows up first. So I'm going to change that to this one. And then I must hit save and apply. That's important on here. When I hit save and apply, you're going to see it apply to the preview on the left side of the screen. And so now it should update the widget with the house that I want it to. We have the address. You can see it puts in the comments about the property for me. They can look at the gallery. We have the map out here, and then there's the footer of the page. And so now I've saved it. I'm just going to click over to my footer. It looks good. I'm going to click now the arrow to the pointing to the left up at the top right side. And that's going to get me back to my configure widgets menu. And I want to hit done before I finish anything else. And if you missed how I got in there, I just hit configure widgets. And then if I click on listing, you can see it puts us right into that same space. All right, click done. And that's all I have to do to build that page. Like I said, I can add in other stuff, like maybe I want to put in a market snap, or there's some other different things, videos, testimonial captures, download my app. You can add in some different features like that onto the page if you'd like. I find that the only other thing I generally will put in here is that additional lead form. So if I just give them the opportunity again to input that information, if they want to leave a message, leave a note, something like that in here. And that's usually it. I'm going to hit publish page and say yes, update it. And now this one, it's also a little easier to set up the ad because this will actually show up inside of Command, and we'll just be able to select the page when we create the ad. Francisco, thank you for asking that question before. Does anybody else have any questions about the landing pages or using your agent site pages, anything like that for the listings? All right, so let's put it together in an ad. Now, there are occasions where I'll jump into designs and create a design for an ad. It's up to you if you'd like to do it. If you have your own branding, I would recommend going in there and just putting a symbol in the corner or something like that, that it's your personal branding. We're going to add in the Market Center branding during the ad creation. So you just want to worry about personal branding. If you want that in there, it's not a big deal not to have that. People are looking at the house. That is what's going to get them to click, is the house, not necessarily having your logo in the corner. So don't worry about it too much. We're not even going to spend time on it today because I honestly don't really run mini ads with any kind of branding in it, because what you run on Facebook, if you run it through your business page on Facebook, you know, associated with your real estate business, that's already going to be branded up there right above the ad. And so I rely on that a lot more, and making sure my Facebook business page is branded correctly as well, so that it reflects all the things that I want it to. All right, so let's jump into a campaign. And the megaphone over on the left side is our campaign icon. Now there's lots of campaigns you can do. You can do email campaigns, direct mail campaigns, just a social post, which is just a regular post to your timeline on your business page, or we can do paid ads. And so when we hit create campaign, we get all those options, and we want to do a paid campaign today. We're going to be talking about a paid Facebook ad. You can also run ads on Instagram and Twitter. I've found the most success on Facebook. I'll just say that. All right, so we're going to name this Kiowa Home Facebook ad. And I usually like to indicate if it's a lead form or a landing page ad, and that'll make sense a little bit more after we get into the specifics of the configuration for our ad. For this one, we're going to be attracting buyers for this. Nothing changes if you select any of the different options here. This is just for tracking, except if you click on advertise multiple listings. That will build out a different kind of ad. I do not suggest using that option, even if you're trying to advertise multiple listings. I would create separate ads for each listing. This is a little different and works differently, and like I said, I don't recommend it. It's not as well researched and doesn't have as much success as just utilizing these as basically just a marker for what kind of ad or what the intent of the ad is, and it won't change anything about it. We're going to select Facebook because we're just running on Facebook. You can do multiple at a time, which can be handy because the system's pretty smart and will level the money out appropriately to whatever is busier. But again, I really recommend just running it on Facebook. If you're looking for leads, just run it through Facebook. That is where we get the most success. All right. You can see it's going to automatically put in, you saw that little flash of a window that it put in my Keller Williams branding for my Market Center to keep me compliant. We'll utilize that for the photo a little bit later down at the media section. First, we have name and goal, and that's just setting up the same stuff that we just did, but if you want to change the name or change your goal, you can do that here and hit save. And we can add a listing to this also right into the ad. Adding the listing is convenient because we'll be able to just select the photo instead of having to upload the photos. Um, I don't do it as much because our MLS puts a watermark on the photos from here. And so if you do have access to the photos without the watermarks on there, say you know the listing agent, you've already contacted them and they've shared the photos with you, that's usually your best way to go. And that's a good time to mention that you do need permission to do this. If you are the listing agent, you need to make sure that your contract with that seller allows you to do this, which it does by default. They would have to tell you not to do this, instruct you not to do this, like advertising, but it is in your listing contract that says that you can do this. But you need that permission. If it's not your listing, you need written permission from the listing agent. And written permission is as simple as emailing them and saying, I'd like to run an ad on this. I try and be as clear as possible when I talk to them about it. And usually as clear as possible as I already have the copy written, all the text is already done and written up. And I share that with them. I tell them how long it's going to run, how much money I'm going to spend. I give them as much detail as I can so that they feel comfortable and can also go back to their sellers and say, look at what people are doing at my office or for me to help sell your home if it's stagnant or something. So usually I will contact them and get the pictures naturally. For this example, just so you can see us add the listing in, we're going to do it through this way. You can see I can search property address, MLS number, but the trick on this page is you have to come over here underneath the search bar and change it from only my listings to all listings. Nothing will show up almost ever. I've even seen, I've had my own listings and then they don't show up in here. So switch it over to all listings and then they will show up appropriately. We're going to pull this one in again by the MLS number 6306746. All right, and search that up. And I will hit select. It will automatically drop as much of the remarks from the listing as it can. I do not recommend using the remarks from the listing. It's a different copy. Sometimes you can grab some good information, maybe use part of it. Custom stick built 3-bed, 2-bath home with unfinished workout basement. I might use that. And I use a really simple formula for the ads that I write. This is a little long, but we'll talk about that in just a moment. But before we do text, I want to talk about the media option. And so in here, we can add images in this section. And the recommended setup is just one image. One image of the front of the house seems to do the best for Facebook ads. They've done lots of tests and it always comes out on top. I'm going to crop this one. We can change the image. Let's do that. And we see, since we have the listing put in here, we have access to all the different listing photos that are in the MLS. And so we can pull any of those in if we'd like. We can up at the top. If we have them on our own device, we can upload the image by clicking on that radial option there, upload image. If we did make one in our design library and maybe added a logo or something to it, we can browse our design library and pull it in that way as well. You can also do video ads. So if you have videos to upload of something, you can also run those. There hasn't been as much research done inside of Keller Williams around video ads, but we know that Facebook loves videos and they love to promote them. So could be worth a try if you have the content. But we're going to just crop the picture this time because it's kind of far away in the layout. Let's see. I'm going to switch it from the Facebook preview web feed to Facebook preview mobile because most folks see these ads on their phone. And so I want to see it like that. So, okay, we have image a little far away. So I'm going to come in here and crop the image. And on Facebook, your best bet is to use the square ratio. Same thing for Instagram timelines, anything on a timeline, the square ratio is going to be your best bet because it shows up best on phones and computers alike. And so we're going to save that cropping. You can see now it looks a lot better in terms of the mobile preview, being real nice and filling out the edges and focusing in on the house. Notice below that we have our DBA logo. This will automatically come in from your marketing profile if you have it in there. And you can choose if you'd like it to be in the bottom right corner or the bottom left corner. I like it in the bottom right for this picture because the bush is there and it shows up nicely. And in our logo, our ownership statement is kind of light. So I like to just add the ownership statement. You can see it shows up at the bottom saying each office is independently owned and operated. And that's our media setup. It's as easy as that. All right, now let's talk text. One of the biggest things that they've driven into us is that using emojis is helpful when you are running ads. Ads with emojis do better. And so that means you get to use emojis. And one of the things that I like about our system now is if you type a colon into this space, it will show you this emoji menu. And if I keep typing something like, what is it? Red. What is it? It's not. Let's look for a light. There we go, rotating light. So I'm going to do a rotating light. We're going to do a hook. We always do a hook here. Country, living in Kiowa. And then let's do another alert, alarm. So rotating light. And then after we do our hook, trying to just get somebody's attention, pull them in and take a look at the photo, we're going to then just put in a little bit of information about the home. And I have the listing open over here. So I'm just going to come over here and probably just take that same little bit that we had before, or just I usually try and include 3 pieces of information about the home. And so something like 3 bed. They love the emojis. 3 bed. I'm going to put a pipe in here. 2 bath. All right, let's do bath tub. I like this one. Somebody in there. 3 bed, 2 bath. 33 acre property. And let's do sunrise there. And then I think I'm going to put in a little bit more detail. Let's see, where is the custom stick build? Let's put that in there before here. So what I'm watching, everyone, is over on the side. I'm watching the preview to make sure that my text is showing up still. You see, we have 250 characters available, but I usually only want to reuse about 120 so that it actually shows up in the ad on their phone when they're looking at it. So we're going to do custom stick built. And now I like the spacing on the ad over here so that that 33 acres shows up right there. And then I'm just going to put a call to action right below there. Click to see inside. And let's get some eyes going there. And that's it. Short, sweet, to the point. The formula is the hook, 3 pieces of info, and then a call to action. That's it. We don't need to make it more complicated than that. You might add some more emojis, do some cool stuff, but it needs to be pretty short and sweet. Seems to be the best way to go. Our headline is generally something similar. Take a, let's see, we don't have much. We only have 25 characters. So I'm going to do see inside. We do have emojis that we can use in here. We don't have the nice, cool, like click on the, or type a colon and use it that way, but we can still put them on this line if we'd like through our computer or our device. So see inside. And let's see if we can fit the word custom home. Nice, 25 characters exactly. And the description. So when we run a lead form ad, the description is not going to show up. You can see does not show up in all instances. It's only when we do a landing page ad that the description will show up on here. And that's generally just giving them information about where they're going. And so I'll put it in here just for example's sake, but it won't show up for the type of ad that we are writing today. See 40 more photos inside. All right, and my text is good. Any questions about the photos or the text in running ads? What kind of questions do you guys have? Okie dokie. I must be covering everything. Now, this is the most important part of the ad, the Facebook settings. I see agents, they'll make or break their ads in this section, and it's usually because they make a simple mistake by just clicking the wrong box. So we're going to go through this slow, and if you guys have any questions, please speak up, because it is really easy to drop 50 bucks on an ad and get nothing from it because you clicked the wrong button in this section. So I'm also happy to sit and review your ads or to write the ad with you on a one-on-one meeting with any of you guys. We can write ads together. We can go through this together as well. Or you can write them yourself and I can review them just to make sure that before you actually spend money on them, that they are what they're going to do, what you expect them to do. So first we have to choose our Facebook page that it's going to run through. It has to be a business page. You cannot run an ad through just a personal side page. You cannot do that. Facebook says no. You can have different Facebook pages you can run that for. If you'd like to run one on something different, or if you're authorized to do so, you can do that for people on teams and such. But I'm just going to run this on my personal Delicios Property Services page. You can see it updates that over in the preview with what I have as the picture in there and the title of the business page. Now, once we make that selection, we are going to have to choose the destination, which this is the big turning point for your ad of what it does. So if we have it selected like you see on my screen, Facebook lead generation form, what that means is when someone clicks on the ad or touches that ad, it's going to pop up a window for them to put in their information. Facebook will auto-populate that information for them, and all they need to do is hit submit. But when they hit submit, that information goes straight to you, and then they end up on the page that we send them to. And so remember this page here, we're going to copy that, and we tell it we're going to send them right over to that page when they click on the ad. But when we have this selected Facebook lead generation form, if they don't submit that information to us, they don't get to go to the ad. They just get sent right back to the Facebook timeline where they can continue to scroll. That is the big difference, is that they have to submit their info to get to the landing page. As long as they do that, they'll end up on the landing page. They can take a look at the house. They can see the price, all of that. You'll notice in my text copy, I don't share the price. I don't share the address of the listing either, because I want them to click on it to get that information. All right. Any questions about the Facebook lead generation form? I want to make sure that I'm not going too fast and this makes sense to everybody here.
No, I did want to say that I actually just had an aha moment as far as utilizing the Facebook lead form. Essentially, unfortunately, I had a misconception about it, that it was going to be like an added step that once they went into the site, they would essentially have to re-enter that information. So in my mind, I was just trying to essentially not have any deterring steps along the way. But hearing you say that Facebook autofills that is just, yeah, it was a huge aha for me. So
right on. Love it, Francisco. Love having those ahas. All right. Anyone else? Awesome. All right. So now let's discuss what happens if we were to run an ad with the selection of site or landing page. So when I select over here, now when my ad runs, they'll see the same thing, but when they click on it, instead of being asked for their information, it goes straight to the page. You don't get to know who clicks. You don't get any information in that transaction there. They go right from Facebook to your landing page without you collecting the information. So this is more of an advertising where you're just trying to expose the listing. So if you're listing somebody's home, this is a great ad to run, because it's just going to show it to a lot more people and a lot more feeds. but it's not collecting the information. All you get is that someone clicked on the ad. You don't get to know who unless they come in here and click on one of these buttons afterward. If they put in the information here as the second step, then I'll get their information from here because that's all connected to command. But I don't get it from Facebook when I have site or landing page selected. This is not to generate leads generally. This is to expose something to a greater number of people. And so there's different situations where I might use the Facebook lead gen form, like when I'm looking for leads and I want people to submit that info. But sometimes I just want to expose something. Maybe I have an event happening and I want people to, just more people to end up on that website to sign up for that event. And so I run that ad so people just click and they have to sign up for the event anyway. And so that having a landing page with like that makes a lot of sense. Events, classes, things like that are great for site or landing pages just to get more eyeballs on that ad and then more people to that page. Both useful tools. Sometimes I'll create both ads. I'll have a lead form ad for my listing and a site or the landing page ad for my listing. I'll do both. They run at the same time, but I make two different ads, one for each. So I'm increasing exposure as well as collecting leads, both forms. The point for you guys is that you just need to be intentional. What are you trying to get from the ad is the important question you have to answer. If you want leads and you want people's contact information, you need to run the Facebook lead generation form ad. That is what's going to get you those leads. If you want to just get more people to see something and over to another page, just to get more traffic on that page, that's when you want a site or landing page option. Clear as mud? Any questions?
Is this a free service or is there a fee to run ads this way?
When you're running ads this way, we have to pay for them.
Got it. Thank you.
Yes, that's the very last section. You're getting ahead of me there. But
oh, yeah. Look at me.
All right. All right. So like I said before, we can just choose the landing page by clicking on choose landing page. And then I can scroll down and finally find that one that we just created. Let's see, I must have passed it in here. What do we call that one? Kyle or something. I usually don't do this, to be honest. I'll usually just grab the URL from that page and utilize that instead of scrolling through this long list because I have too many landing pages. There it is though. But I can just set it just like that. Really simple and easy if I want to utilize that page, or like I said, I like using my active website page. Oh, one thing I didn't mention before on this, Francisco's question earlier. If I'm running a page or an ad that's sending me to the lead form page or sending the client to the lead form, I'm probably going to use my live page because I already have their info. When they submit that info to me, I have it. And then I like sending them over to my live page because if they want to go look at other homes, they're a click away from a search bar. So if they still want to look at other things besides my own home, well then, boom, it's right there for them. Opposed to the landing page, which does not have as many links that click out to your website unless you put them in there. And so if I want to just kind of take their information and then let them fly on my website, utilize this piece here. So again, that's what I'm doing 90% of the time is using the live page on here. Oops, I left my listing. There we go. Let's pop that back in there. We do have some options in here of learn more, sign up, or apply now. The sign up and apply now ones are applicable sometimes. Almost always learn more is the way to go. All right. The last piece in here is your targets. And I do not really ever run an ad that's not using these custom settings. I always come in here and I have two options. I can target my database. So if you have a tag of 100 people or more, you can target that tag and it'll use whatever information you have about them and whatever information those people might have in Facebook. If it can link them together to a profile, it's going to advertise to them. So that's really handy for like circle prospecting or re-hitting leads again. That's more of an advanced option, but we're going to talk about targeting today because targeting is important and it's easy because the list doesn't really change for buyer ads or seller ads like this one. The location, it will center a circle around this location anywhere from 15 to 50 miles. We have to be somewhere in between there for our radius. 25 works great for our area. Denver's not a huge metropolitan area. If I center my circle at Kiowa and have a radius of 25 miles, I'm going to almost get to Springs in that case. It's not quite there. I'm going to get the lower half of Denver. So I'm just going to increase it a little bit bigger since we're centering there. But we can also just change it to Denver proper if we'd like to run an ad there. You can run ads in other states. There's lots of stuff you can do with targeting and being clever about running ads if that's a big part of your business. Now, once we get the location set, these expert targets are really what make or break this ad of if you're going to get leads for $3 a piece or $1 a piece. And so Keller Williams has done a bunch of research. Keller Williams has done a bunch of research around what tags, or excuse me, what interests work really well. And I don't want to sit here and go through the 17 interests that I have, but I mentioned that email before. If you email me at steven.delisio@kw.com and just ask me for the interest list or to be added to the folder to share where the interest list is and see the examples, anything like that, just send me that email and I will add you to the list and forward over the list of different targets that you should be using. But I'll show you just a few real quick. If we just type in real estate, if I can spell it right, we're going to see a few different options in here. So I might choose, let's see, real estate investing, real estate appraisal, maybe just those two. But there's also options in here like people are interested in Zillow. Well, people interested in Zillow are probably interested in homes. And so I want to show them this ad. Premier Agent, people who are interested in Premier Agent are probably real estate agents. So I do not select that because I don't want to show this to real estate agents. I want to show it to people that are thinking about buying a home. So Zillow, there's other ones in credit that when people are thinking about buying a home, they're probably clicking on things like Credit Karma and Credit Sesame maybe. So I want to show those people who have those interests on Facebook this ad. And like I said, get the whole list from me so that you can get it. It's about 17 different interests long. Once we hit save, you'll see it adds those in. We can add additional ones. And I want you guys to really notice that I'm clicking on add interests, not narrow audience. Narrow audience does something different. And I only use it when I'm really trying to focus in, because when I run the interests at the top, anyone who's interested in Zillow or Credit Karma will see this ad. If I narrow the audience, come on. If I narrow the audience and add acting in to this section, you're going to see it shows up below. But now the people who are going to see this ad are people that are interested in acting and they're interested in real estate investing, or they're interested in acting and they're interested in Zillow. So you can see that will narrow everything down because they have to have both acting in one of these instead of just one of these. So be really careful if you're ever narrowing ads. You want to be very intentional about narrowing it. And so I run these ads maybe 1% of the time, and it's generally like a mortgage ad where I can really focus and narrow people into a funnel there. And it's really hard to run mortgage ads. I'll just tell you that right now. For like Keller Mortgages and stuff like that, it's tough. They're the toughest ads to run. So stick to just the simple include people who match any of these, staying in this top ad interest box, and avoid this one unless you're really intentional about it. But once you get all 17 of those added in, you just hit save and we're done with the hardest part of the ad. That's it. That's the hardest part. And again, I'm happy to do this with you or review these afterward because I know this is a lot to go off of on just one section, but the rest is pretty easy. Let's jump into lead settings. So here is my favorite new part. This has only been in command for maybe 3 months. But we can auto tag and auto assign smart plans right through the ad. So anybody who comes in on this ad, I might label them with some of my different tags I've already created. Facebook, Keller Williams Downtown Facebook lead. I might put in here buyer, that I know that they're interested in buying, and that's the only tags. And so when a lead comes in, they'll automatically be tagged in those sections right there, or so not sections, but with those tags. Now we can also add them to smart plans. And so we saw those two that we downloaded earlier. We can also search for them. So if I start typing my emails, it'll pull up that one for me if I have a big list. But since those are just right at the top, we're going to add both of them. So now automatically they're going to get put on a plan that as soon as that lead comes in, they'll be sent an email and a text. Now, if that lead comes in after 8 p.m., they're not going to get that text until the next morning at 10 o'clock. Command does not text anybody after 8 p.m. of the time settings inside of your system. And so don't worry about texting people, because you'll get leads in the middle of the freaking night all the time with these ads. But they won't text them then. It will send the email though. So be aware of that when you're putting and using this automation. They go out as soon as they click. And so be aware, make sure that you're designing these so that you're cognizant of that. But that's it. It's as simple as just putting the tags in that you want in there and assigning these smart plans as well, clicking save. Now, last but not least is the budget section, which confuses the crap out of a lot of people. The only thing that you need to change on this piece is the dates and the total budget. It's going to break down your duration and your cost per day for you. You just need to change the total budget that you want to spend. So if you want to spend 25 bucks, then you're going to spend 25 bucks here. That's how you say how much you want to spend. It breaks it down per day. Now, I try and run ads. They recommend no more than or no less than $1 a day in 10 days. I'm more of a, you should run ads for over a weekend. That is your best time. Run an ad from Friday to a Tuesday. That's a great time to run an ad for those 5 days. So if I set this one up like that, if I said, okay, I'm going to start this ad on Thursday, and then I want it to finish on the next Tuesday. That gives us 5 days, 25 bucks, $5 a day gets me a pretty good return. I can usually expect about, if I ran this ad like this, I would expect to generate maybe anywhere from 15 to 25 leads from this ad. And you just want to be careful with how much you spend. You can pause them early if you're getting too much, but you want to be able to keep up with the follow-up. And so if you get 25 leads over a weekend, are you ready to make all those calls? Because the important part of follow-up as well is doing the calls, calling people. And you saw that there was a call plan inside the library that you can download. The call plan is just reminding you to call these people on a scheduled basis. Definitely utilize that one as well so that you get those calls in. I really believe that if you make the calls, you will convert these easier than if you don't. And so just make sure you can handle it. Don't put a spend in that's super high or a really high per day spend because it can be overwhelming. It will bring leads in and you will need to work them if you want them to convert. A little bit here, but also just know if it becomes too much, you can pause the ad and it will stop putting it out in front of people and you can catch up with your leads, and then you can finish it out if it's still within its timeline, or if the timeline runs out by then, it will just close the ad off and only charge you what it had already ran it as, and then it gives you the credit back in Command to use in the future. All right, what questions do you guys have about lead settings or the budget? All right. Well, that's all there is to it. You can see over on the left side, we have green check marks across the entire row. And so we're good to go on our ad. We can save the draft. We can hit publish campaign. Now, a little bit about the timeline for these ads. When you create an ad, you can start them as soon as tomorrow. You cannot start any ads the day of. And the reason is because Facebook has to approve the ad before it goes live. So if we publish this ad now, as soon as it will start running will be midnight tonight if Facebook gets to the ad. Usually if you create one on our time by, about this time, by 3 o'clock, it will usually start midnight and you'll start getting leads that morning. And so just be aware that's kind of the timeline it works on, is that it always is the next day that it's going to start. The soonest it'll start is the next day. You can push it out further like I did in here and have it start further out, and it will start definitely on that day as long as Facebook approves the ad. Now, some stuff that will get your ad not approved and for it to get declined is having too much text on the picture. If you put a big for sale over 50% of this picture, it's going to kick that out. It does not like it. You can cover the picture with as much as 20% of the photo. If you're using just a photo of a home, nothing to worry about. It's not going to do anything. The only other thing that might get you flagged is if you do something goofy in the text. If you put in something that will flag the system on any way, and it might sound weird, but if you put in something that is against a protected class, if you say something around those lines, you can get flagged for inappropriate content and a breaking of fair housing laws. And Facebook is very specific about that. And so that's where you can't go in and say, great for seniors only, or something like that. Age is a protected class. There are a lot of protected classes in Colorado. And so Facebook is aware of all of that, and you need to be aware of it as well. That's what will flag your ad and not let it run if you have something in there like that. Occasionally, Facebook just does goofy stuff and they'll decline your ad. And I can try and help with that, but I have seen sometimes where it's just Facebook being Facebook, and we have to just redo it. And so if that happens to you, please get me involved so I can help out and support you. Let's see, I'm going to save the draft here just real quick and just take a look at the dashboard of what it looks like when we have this in here and some of the other ads that you can see below. So if I have a draft, it says draft. If it's active, it'll be green. But you can see over here, let's see, you won't see the option here, but I'll get a stop ad option for when I'm running ads. Actually, let me check if I have any active ones right in this side. There we go. So here we can edit campaign. If the campaign is active and you're editing it, these are the only things that you can change: the name, location, and the radius. You cannot update anything else while it's running. Let's see, you also have the stop campaign option. We can duplicate the campaign. We can download a CSV of just those leads. If leads do come in, like you can see on this ad here, clicking on them will send you to the list of those leads. And so give it a moment. We then get the list, and I love this list so that I can come in and I can select all these. I can add them to another smart plan if I want to, or if I didn't put them on before. I can add tags to them right here in bulk. I can click on them. It just gives me an easy window into the leads that are being generated from that specific ad. All right, let's see. Campaign, stop campaign. It will prompt you for payments as well. You can save multiple payments in here if you need to, so that if you have like different business cards or other things like that, you can run them simultaneously in here. If you want to see your ad while it's running, the only way to do that is to click on your name over here, and it'll pull up what the ad looks like in the standard feed. There it is. If you guys haven't heard the news about the free school we're launching, it's super exciting. If you know anybody interested in getting into real estate, this is going to be an excellent opportunity starting in November. All right, so we have some ads going about that. All right, we have about 5 minutes left. That is all that I brought for you guys today. Remember, when you are writing one of these ads, the ad is not the only thing that is important to get scheduled and ready to go. We need to get a smart plan ready. We need to have a landing page ready, and it usually helps to have some copy and some text ready to go as well before we write that ad, because you can see all those settings can get really tedious if you're not knowing what you're doing, or if you're trying to do everything at once and bouncing in between and right and left and trying to set this. Go in there, get your smart plan set, get your landing page decided on. If you're going to create one or use one from your web page, decide it, have your link ready, and then write your ad in the campaign section, get it going, try and shoot for $5 a day. I would say that's usually where I'm at. For my ads, that gets me really great results. And so if you guys have any additional questions, anything else, or want help doing this with me, I'm happy to sit down, schedule that time on my Calendly page, calendly.com/delicios. Look for that tech therapy 30-minute time block and get on my schedule so that we can write some ads. All right, y'all. There's nothing else. That's all I had for you. Have a good one.